Hello, friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of Fort Worth Roots. You know that we don't do anything political on this show, right? We don't. It's like one of our hard lines in the sand. Fort Worth Roots is never going to do that left versus right crap, none of that conservative versus liberal stuff. We just don't do it here because you're all welcome. And whenever we take away some of these borders that our media has put in place for us, we're able to have long format conversations with people that maybe you wouldn't have ever listened to because the media tells you not to. Whether they're on the left or the right, everybody's got a seat here at the table at Fort Worth Roots. With that being said, there's a darkness in this town. There's people trying to push agendas, and I don't like it. We don't support that crap at Fort Worth Roots. So we want to go out to the people that are in leadership positions in our community and just listen to them talk. Not about their political views, not about their agendas, but just hear about what they're doing to make Fort Worth the place that we love. And if we don't get a little bit vocal about some of the crap that we see online that doesn't necessarily represent our Fort Worth values, then there's a vacuum. There's a vacuum, and people that have just lost their minds are going to yell about their far left or their far right topics, and that's all you're going to hear. So anyway, we're not going to do political stuff, but we are going to talk to Michael Crain, one of our city council members, that decided the best place to do this recording was on a bridge on one of the windiest days here in Fort Worth, Texas. Anyway, it was great, and I agree with Michael. This was a wonderful location to do a out in the wild kind of recording. We're going to be doing more of those because they're fun, they're easy to set up, and it gives us something besides this backdrop to look at. So playfully, I complain a little bit in one of my recent videos about the wind out there, but it really wasn't that bad. There is some wind in this recording, but we used our little fuzzy microphones. Calamity struck a couple times. The cameras got blown over and stuff. But anyway, this is Michael Crain. We're on the pedestrian bridge just below Clear Fork, Maine, and it's a cool little spot. I feel like I've been on this bridge before, like out on a run or something, but I'm not sure because when Michael said, hey, this is the bridge I want to meet on, it took me a minute to find it. But you can find a parking lot to a trailhead just kind of behind some of the shops right there as you're coming over the bridge. If you're heading south off of I-30 down towards Clear Fork and you go over that big bridge, what is that, Hewlin? Right as you're going across the railroad tracks, you're going to go through an intersection light, and then don't get me lying to you, but it's on the right-hand side, either after that first light or maybe a second light. It's kind of hidden back there. But there's plenty of parking, and it's a great spot if you want to take the family out, or maybe you're trying to do a windy video on top of the lake, on top of the river. This would be a good spot for that. Anyway, we get into what the recent bond election means for our community in this video. We talk about some of the other things that are being projected for Fort Worth over the next year to 10 years, and just trying to understand what it is that you need to be voting for in terms of the importance of it. Not telling you what to vote for, but telling you why it's important that we vote here in our community. Michael, in this recording, tells me, hey, this last election, he got what he wanted, but he was disappointed that only 4% of the Fort Worth population turned out to vote. He doesn't care necessarily how you vote. He just wants to make sure that you get out there and vote. So Fort Worth Roots is going to do our best to remind you whenever voting comes up. And again, we don't care if you're on the left or the right side of the aisle, but this is a great metric for measuring the involvement of our neighbors in our community. So get out and vote, one way or the other. All right, that's enough talking out of me. Michael Crain, thank you for being on the show. And, this is going to sound weird. Let's start the show. All right, Michael Crain, District 3, City Council member. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Absolutely. So I always ask people whenever we're going to do it remotely where you want to shoot this thing.
Yeah.
And you said the pedestrian bridge at Clear Fork, Maine. So here we are.
Here we are. Thanks for coming. District in the heart of District 3. But this is a place I find a lot of solace right here on the Trinity River.
Yeah.
And if I'm not sitting in a boring meeting somewhere, then you'll find me out here probably walking or running and listening to books on tape or
Yeah.
on phone calls. It's just a great place here in the heart of Fort Worth.
Can you sit down and read a book these days, or is it just audio now?
It's very hard for me to sit down and physically read a book. I still like having the feeling of a book in my hand.
Right.
But honestly, I have to listen through Audible or through the Libby app from the Fort Worth Library has an app. So I get
817, is that?
Well, Amplify
part of it?
817 is a totally different program, but the app is called Libby.
Yeah.
And if people don't know about it, it's free. It's with your
right.
public library. So if I'm not using Audible, then I'm using the Libby app. I'm reading a really interesting biography of Teddy Roosevelt right now, or listening to it. And so I tend to listen to a lot of nonfiction as part of this and just learning.
But you're always on the go. I mean, you're walking up the bridge earlier, responding either to emails or texts. I was hoping you didn't trip and bust your face, but it looks like you got it down. You know what you're doing.
Well, I think this job is just being accessible. That's what people want, is someone that they can feel free to text or call or send an email. And I try and respond myself, or at least get I'll respond and get city staff on it. But that's what this job is all about.
Right.
And I'm having a lot of fun doing it. By the time someone contacts me in our office, they've probably tried other avenues. They just don't know what to do. They're frustrated trying to get through a city bureaucracy, or they know they can come and get a quick answer from me or point in the right direction. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. And you are always out in the public. I mean, your Facebook, I think it's your Facebook. I always see you posting stuff. You're just always out and about doing something.
Yeah.
And even, I think you snapped a picture of you downtown with the film crew.
Oh, yeah.
What was that, Lioness?
Yeah, so I've done a lot of this. Listen, we have a really burgeoning industry here. Been called the Taylor Sheridan effect, but we have, Red Sanders, another local celebrity, has been doing this for a long period of time, really boosting our film economy here. And so, I've done a couple of background roles, and that was a background role that I was down there as part of Lioness Season 3, but I've been in Lioness Season 2. I did Landman, the Madison. You'll see me in a little spot in Episode 6.
You're in the show.
I'm background actor in the
Awesome.
show. Listen, I this is me. I like to experience things, right? And if we keep talking about something and that this is going to be a change agent for the city of Fort Worth, I want to know about it.
Yeah.
And I've always been a lifelong learner. That's why I've taken classes through Harvard, even through the Aspen Institute. These were real classes where you learn about yourself, you learn about your priorities, you learn about leadership. And I've in this role of leading the city, and so I think when you stop learning or think you know everything, that's when you're at your worst.
Yeah.
So I always just try and soak up as much opportunity and learning as I can.
Now, with the you being an extra in some of these shows and getting to have fun downtown while they're filming, is that part of the reimagining of this look that you got? Because I'm used to Michael Crain being a clean cut
I'm trying
gentleman.
to be you with a beard now.
Yeah?
Mine's got a lot more white in it.
Imitation is flattery. Thank you.
No, it's funny. This was kind of a spring break leftover, and I started getting compliments from people. They're like, "Oh, that's a good look." And so I've just continued on keeping it. My wife is still a little bit, she's unsure because it's a weird time going into summer to grow a beard. And but it is what it is. She goes, that's more of a fall thing. But I was like, okay, but you've got it, you've worn it. So
the picture I saw of you downtown, it was a great picture. And I don't know if you shot it with your phone.
I did. It was a fun iPhone.
And I immediately, I'm like, that's CGI. Michael doesn't have a beard.
No, I do, and I've grown it, and it's anyway. It's been interesting that it's a topic for people, but it is what it is.
Okay, let's talk about Fort Worth a little bit. Right as the helicopter decides to
Listen,
go over.
I love being outside. You've got a helicopter going above us. You've got the peaceful river behind us. You've got Colonial down the street. The Charles Schwab Challenge is about to happen.
When is that?
That's next week.
Is that the same as the Colonial?
It's the same thing. They've renamed it Charles Schwab Challenge because Charles Schwab is the major, and it's been that way the last.
Just go changing the name?
Well, it's always going to be the Colonial, but Charles Schwab Challenge. It's been a few other names as of the course of history, but that's who is the major sponsor. But that brings in, I think it's bringing over the last, I don't know how many years, $200 million of investment in the city. I think each year it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 40. That includes some of the charitable piece that they do, but it also puts Fort Worth on the map. So
I know people get very excited about it. I'm not much of a golfer. I did go last year. I got invited out there by some friends of ours at Higginbotham. They had some tickets for us, so we went out there, and I'm not a golfer.
Yeah.
I'll go about once a year and I'll play a course, and I do enjoy it, but
I'm not a golfer either. Listen, no one wants to spend 4 hours with me, right? So I'm sorry if that. So when people ask me to golf, I don't do it. But you go out there for the social aspect.
Yeah.
That's what I do. You see all your friends.
Walk
you
around
see
a little bit.
business being done out there. You make connections. We've got a great city, and there are a lot of people doing a lot of things. And so I'm always excited to be out there and go to the TCU, their tent, or go to Pape Dawson. I'm going to their tent this year. Some of the other just walking around seeing folks, and really, I'll do a lot of thanking people for just investing in the city and being a part of the fabric here.
There's Michael, just out in the community, doing your thing.
Listen, we have a great city, and I'm having a great time. But we have to keep it that way. We have to keep it. I mean, it doesn't mean we don't make changes as we go along, as we grow. But we have to keep it that way, and that's just one of those parts that when people think about Fort Worth, that's one of the events they think about.
Can I ask you about the discontent I'm seeing online with it? I know it's just a handful of people, but you see video of city council meetings and people getting very vocal about some of the things that they're concerned about, and it seems like it's on kind of the rise. Like you see a lot more of that, definitely more videos.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of, direction or comment on that?
I mean, I'll say this. I appreciate that people come and want to voice that's what our government works, right? We're a democracy. I appreciate that people do it. And as everybody knows, I give out my phone number freely. I give out my email address freely.
Right.
I'll talk to anybody. I'd like to figure out how we solve the problem. And that's ultimately what I'm built to do, is bring a problem to me, let's figure out how we solve it. Now, is it going to be maybe in the manner that someone wants it to be solved? Probably not. We're not always going to agree on the solution of the problem or how we get to the solution of the problem. I think mostly everybody can agree that there is an issue that we want to solve, whatever that issue is. It's how we get there that really divides us the most. So I appreciate that people come down and talk to us or call me or whatever. I don't appreciate that people make it personal. I don't think that has any place. Listen, I'm a human person. I'm a human being. I've made mistakes. And so, but I take the best that I can do with all the information I have, and I have to make a decision.
How much of it do you think is derived from people just trying to generate clickbait? Because I know that a lot of people in that room, if not all of them, are self-proclaimed influencers. Like they want content, so they're going, and you see this in other cities across America, like it's across the globe. Influencers going in where they can have a moment in the public to point a finger at somebody and then try to make some kind of viral content. How much of it do you think is that? Because from an outsider, it looks like 100%.
I would say I would encourage people, like as you said, to go watch some of this. I can't get into someone's internal motivations. I don't know what they are. What I'll say is I have greater respect for the people that bring a solution, and it's not just, we don't like you, we need to get rid of you, you shouldn't be sitting on the dais. That's not a solution. I mean, in their mind it is, because someone else will be there making decisions. But ultimately, what I have to get back to the facts. What are the real problems? And how do we solve them as a city? We're growing. I mean, we're now the 10th largest city in the United States.
Is that official?
It's official.
Okay.
And so, I mean, Mayor Maddie Parker said it, and so we've gotten it from the U.S. Census Bureau, so it must be official as part of it.
Well, I do know that at the last address to the city, or State of the City address, Maddie said that we were probably already the 10th largest city, but it wasn't confirmed yet. So now it's confirmed.
Basically, every year, every 10 years, there's an official census. Every year, the Census Bureau comes out with some unofficial numbers that they then make official. And so we've known probably we were the 10th. That's why in things I've been talking about over the last year or so, I said 11th, probably 10th largest city. Now we can say we're the 10th largest city. And with the facts on the table, Fort Worth is only half built out. We're 50% built out. So we have more room to grow, and we are going to continue to grow. Have you heard this term Westoplex? Yes. Tell us about that. Well, I don't know the exact term. I can guess that it means that if you look at the census data where growth is happening, that the Metroplex is growing west. It's shifting to the west. It's shifting to the west. And the COG, the Council of Governments, has a statistic out there that says by 2100, Aledo will be the center of the entire Metroplex because the growth is just happening west. But I believe it because, you can see it. You drive west, take a look. It's just, it's insane how much
expansion is out that direction.
Yeah.
Costco's and HEBs and road improvement. And
I mean, it's people moved to the west part of Fort Worth to get out of Fort Worth.
Yeah.
And
how's that working out?
How's it working out for you? But Fort Worth is growing. The district I represent goes from TCU all the way out to Walsh and Parker County. It's about 44 square miles, about 100,000 people, probably 110 with the growth that's happened. With that, and it will continue to grow. If you look at the map of Fort Worth, the north part of Fort Worth has grown out as much. There's still some room for growth, but we can go further a little bit into our ETJ. But you go west, and we have a ton of ETJ, and you've got major ranches that are all either they're sold and being built out like Walsh and Veal, or they're contemplating being sold, and what could go on that property.
Talking about growth, can we? How much do you know about this data center? Because I'm ignorant to it. I just know that it's a possibility that we're going to get one of the big data centers. And personally, I feel like we shouldn't resist the data center, because whenever AI takes over, it's going to remember that we fought real hard to keep that out of Fort Worth.
Yeah.
So we just need to embrace it so that the AI overlords are cool with us when they get here. Like, Fort Worth was on our team.
Yeah, there's a lot of myth and misinformation being spread out there.
Okay.
This is what I'll say: data centers aren't new.
Yeah.
Google's had one, Meta's had one for 10, 12
they're
years.
all over the place.
And there are neighborhoods right next to it, and they're symbiotic, and they work together.
Yeah.
What I've committed to is, every day I have to take balance economic development and growth in that area and protecting neighborhoods and quality of life. Mm-hmm. It's a constant balance, and we do that. That's why zoning exists. We have to look at all the parameters around that. And I'll say this: while data centers, there's a lot of the issues that have been addressed. The noise, the water piece of it, the electricity part. The states put rules on now for you have to have an on-core substation or some delivery right there, and it has to go off grid if there's a major incident like the February 21 freeze that we had across the state. It has to go off grid, go in generators, which means more power will be delivered in the area. Mm-hmm. You have the noise ordinance. They have to follow noise ordinances as part of that. I mean, industrial areas, it's a weird thing, but I'll say this: I can't talk about all data centers.
Yeah.
I can talk about the one that's going in off 28, 71, and 20.
So that's a done deal.
It was part of a long negotiated with Veal Ranch development agreement with the city of Fort Worth. I'm not necessarily involved in those development agreements. City planners are. Right. And this was a industrial growth center that had been long before I was elected, an area, if you know where we're talking about, right, where Defender Outdoors is in that same little area, 28, 71, and 20. There's been some, out there that this was done behind the scenes, et cetera. And there's a lot of just pieces and parts that I have been able, I can explain when I can explain it, of the developer had a potential to put a mud there, which means 5,400 acres would have been developed outside the city of Fort Worth. We didn't want that to happen, which means we'd have zero control over it. And there were some things that had to be negotiated as part of that. So I'll say this, that I asked, because it seems like we're being bombarded of sorts with data centers, and that's the feeling that everybody's getting, that I asked for an informal report on data centers in Fort Worth, what we might look at, what other cities are doing, and a survey to figure out what rules we might put in place here in the city of Fort Worth that makes sense, that balances, again, neighborhoods and quality of life, at the same time economic development.
Excellent. Okay.
And that's coming June 2nd. So, and then we'll know what's out there, and then that will give the chance for the entire council to talk about this and figure out what's right for Fort Worth. What I respect about Fort Worth and why I love serving Fort Worth is we don't jump into what's the new shiny thing that happens, right? A lot of cities will jump in and regulate or put something in, and we let other cities go make mistakes, and then we take the best parts of that, and that's what I'm hopeful comes back to us. You hear a lot of horror stories. Loudoun County, Virginia, done a lot of research on this, and also there's a lot of you've got to divide Bitcoin mining from data centers. Bitcoin are very loud. They use a lot of water and other things, cooling technologies as part of it. Those are different than the data centers that we're talking about here that are in Fort Worth.
My two takeaways are, it was already a plan. There was already a plan to put a data center in before it became a hot topic. And two, the city of Fort Worth is being very careful with the way that it's kind of navigating this new situation.
Yeah, I would say, the zoning went through again, and it was part of a very public process. We vote. I've probably voted on thousands of zoning cases at this point over the last 6 years, and we learn as much as we can. Obviously, focus on those that affect District 3, but if they're citywide, we look at that. And I mean, let's not lose sight of the fact that data centers have become a political issue.
Yeah.
And it seems to be actually uniting Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah.
And so I think we have to step back for a second and look at the economic development piece. And it's not always about money. Again, we got to balance neighborhoods and quality of life with the economic development. But I can speak to the one that's coming at 287120. It's going to be about $100 million, $50 to $100 million. By the time it's all built out, $100 million that goes into the city coffers that helps pay for all the infrastructure and growth that we need.
Yeah.
Another $20 million will go into the ISD. That with kids that don't need to be educated, right?
Yeah.
There are no kids inside of it. So if you built 1,000 homes, you'd have all the kids and the infrastructure, fire, police, and everything else you'd have to put around it. So there are some good things or benefits as part of it. So I think we just have to keep all that in mind, but continue to. Oh shit. Uh-oh.
Stay.
Oh, there we go.
I got it.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
He just lost his hat.
That's okay.
Almost lost a camera. Kids are coming over here. Listen, this is live. Well, it's not live. Let's say it, but recorded outside live. Hey, how are y'all? What's going on? What are y'all doing? Taking a walk. What's up, buddy?
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
It's going to be fun recovering that hat.
Yeah.
I got to have that hat.
I know. It's at least not moving. So, what's up, y'all? How are you?
All right.
What's up? How are y'all?
All right.
You think that's safe right now?
Yeah.
Is it
it's good. As
hitting
long
me?
as you're in the same spot. Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. Where were we?
So we had a little bit of a mishap. He lost his hat.
That is definitely getting
Camera almost
included.
fell over. Kids walking by.
You were quick. I was a little too slow. My hat is gone. Megan, I'm sorry. I'm going to go down there and
Put
try
all
to
this in the
recover it.
outtakes too. The blooper reel.
It's great. All right. Just remember,
Are
if
you in
you're
the
going
same place?
Yeah. If you're
Okay.
going to video on a bridge, maybe don't wear a hat.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Pro tip.
And bring some things for the cameras. But
Okay, last thing I wanted to ask you, Michael, is the bond.
Yes.
The bond election went through. It was voted in. What kind of changes can we see in the city of Fort Worth or expect to see due to that bond election?
So if people aren't familiar, May 2nd had a bond election vote. And I'll say a lot of people weren't because only 4% of people turned out to vote, which is actually pathetic.
Yeah.
This is how so it was $845 million. That's how much debt capacity we had to issue bonds. And this is 76%, I think, were streets, roads, mobility. I hear most that our streets are horrible, that we need more capacity and we're growing. So we need to fix some of the streets that we have, and then we also need to execute on our master thoroughfare plan. You also had about $64 million for police, fire, emergency management. That's going to renovate one fire station, build another fire station, as well as invest in our emergency management that we just brought in. When I say brought in, what I mean is the city took over MedStar, and so we now run it as part of the Fort Worth Fire Department. That's all been integrated and working smoothly, and really proud of that transition. Most major cities, when they get to a point, put their emergency management services within the fire department and work from there. You also had $185 million in parks and parks and outdoor space. We hear a lot about that, about saving some of our open space, and the mayor's talked a lot about that too, as our initiative. And so you had, I think, $15 million into libraries. So Southwest Library, Regional Library here off Hewlin will get renovated, and then a couple of others. So really, this is what we talk about, quality of life. These are investments in quality of life.
Yeah.
Being able to drive down the street and not get a pothole and a $500 new tire.
Yeah.
Being able to take your kids to the library and check out some books or get on Libby online, and those investments. Police and fire, public safety that we talk about all the time, making sure that they have everything that they need and so they can respond to the calls that they get called to do by the citizens of Fort Worth. So all of that is, and something I think is important, all of the initiatives passed, even though there was state mandated language that says this will raise your property taxes. It used to say this may raise your property taxes. The state mandated say this will. I think we did a good education to tell people this won't raise your property taxes. 15 cents of every property tax dollar you pay goes to debt retirement. And because we're growing so fast, we're on a 4-year cycle for bonds. The 2014 bond has been retired. 2018, parts of it still haven't been retired, but that's logistical. 2022 bond, this is a 26 bond. We are already talking about a 2030 bond. And that will be a 4-year process, public engagement, and also just some evaluation and data of where we need to put certain things with the growth. Do we need a new police station out west? That's something I'll angle for as we move further west over the next 4 years.
Sounds like we need it, yeah.
Sounds like
we're going to need it.
We're going to need it. A library out west. What does that look like? And then just investment in open space and police and fire and everything else. So these will be continual conversations we've had. The 22 bond started right after the 2018 bond, and initiatives build off each other.
Yeah.
And so I'm proud that everything passed, that everybody saw through it. And I also want people to understand, I've heard some rumblings of well, you're going to pay back a lot in interest over time, but this is what businesses do. They leverage debt to keep building.
Yeah.
This is what businesses do. They leverage debt to keep building and growing.
But it's expensive to have a city this nice.
It's expensive, and I think people expect that out of it. And I will say, I've been great steward of taxpayer dollars. Our council has as well. And so looking at that, staff brings us issues and problems, and then we figure out how to solve them from a policy perspective. They figure out the logistics of how that gets solved, and that's what staff does.
We just need to get more than 4% of our public out to vote.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, you obviously got what you wanted. The bond went through,
right,
and everybody's happy.
Right.
But still, you're like 4%. Mm-hmm. I'm glad it went this way, but we need more people voting.
Yeah, I mean, I've unpacked this a lot of different ways. Some people will say, we don't want people to show up to vote. To me, that's ridiculous. I don't. I want as many people to show up as vote and voice their opinion, whether that's for or against me as a candidate or for or against a bond that we may need.
Yeah.
But that's what we live in, a democracy. Yeah. So I did my job as best I could, being out there, being on social media to say go vote, texting tons of folks to go vote. I probably texted you as part of it to go vote. But I want people to go vote. Mm-hmm. I want people to feel like their voice was heard in some way, and part of that is voting. And so misnomer that we don't want people to vote is just wrong. But we also have to be more effective in getting the word out to people about why voting is important.
Yeah. Well, everybody gives their attention to the big federal elections, the national elections, because that's the sexy one.
Right.
But the thing that matters the most, how the water gets to the pipes in your house, the roads around you, your schools that your kids go to, everything.
It's
so
all
fire
here local.
And safety, it's all local voting, and it's the most important. And the percentage, your vote matters so much more in a local election than a federal one.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, when I first ran in 21, I was like, hey, I'm running, I need your support. And they're like, yeah, November, I got you. I was like, no, it's a May vote. And they're like, and these are really educated folks that I would see at Tom Thumb or somewhere else. I was like, it's not May, it's a May vote. And they're like, what? I've never voted in a May election.
Yeah.
And I was like, 9 of the 10 things that upset you every day are here on the local level. Like whether you drive down your streets and hit a pothole and have to go buy a $500 ticket. Your trash gets picked up. When you call 911, does someone show up to solve your problem? Those are all local issues. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I want people to go vote and voice their opinion on what they think should be priorities for the city. And that's how we get guidance to then know how to lead.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I got to say, thank you so much.
Of course, Andrew.
I know that you've got something downtown going on every day.
There's always something going on. It's Fort Worth, Texas.
Else.
There's always something going on.
But it's always a pleasure to get to catch up with you. Let me know if you need a ride along for a lunch or a dinner
let's
or
do
something
it. That might be fun. Yeah.
Let me know.
Well, I appreciate what you do, telling the stories of Fort Worth and being out here and being around. I mean,
I genuinely enjoy this.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's what I'm supposed to be doing.
I enjoy that you enjoy it. Listen, we need more people telling all the great stories that are happening here in Fort Worth, which is why I'm happy to be out here with you. That's going to be on the blooper reel too. Happy to be here.
Hold on a second. Make sure we got Michael in there. What is with this wind is insane.
It is.
There we go. Okay.
It's all good. How do you want to end it?
Well, I just want to make sure we got everything that you wanted to talk about covered. So is there anything else that we didn't hit that you'd like to get on this recording?
I don't know. Is there any
cover
other
some good
subjects you want to
stuff.
cover?
I mean, we could sit here and talk for hours. I mean, there's so much stuff that I see on social media dealing with the city and in certain topics that pop up. And as soon as we get out of here, I'll be like, should have talked about that.
Well,
but
we can always do it again.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The people in Fort Worth appreciate you, and just keep doing a great job.
Listen, we have a great city. We have to keep it that way. And so we're going to continue to grow and evolve. And what does that look like? But listen, you got people out here walking the trails. How are y'all? Good to see you.
Oh,
You got people out here walking the trails with their dogs.
I hope that dog doesn't find my hat.
He might. He might.
Michael, thank
Hey,
you,
good
man.
to see you. Thanks
Can
for
we do
having me
it
out
again?
here. Yeah, of course.
And I still need to see your office.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
Thanks, guys.
Should we take a selfie?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.